Are we on?
Yep, you're on.
This is our second video we've made. I'm trying to turn the music down. We are R&B runaways, so I'm trying to get a little bit of rhythm and blues music, jazzy music in the background. I don't know whether that's going to work or not. But hello, guys. We put out our first official YouTube recording last week while we were driving into town to Illinois to go shopping. So we're picking up where we left off there. And it's April 5th.
And excuse the quality of the videos. We're still learning. We still have to, I've got to get online and learn how to actually edit videos. So we're just kind of doing these on the fly, and what you see is what you get right now.
But we just want to keep all of our friends, family, loved ones, and fellow work campers up to date on what's going on in our lives. And we know with the quarantine and the joblessness right now, it's pretty scary. We just watched Johnny and Tracy with RV SWAT, and they're in quarantine right now and unemployed. So it's getting really scary for our fellow workers. And we know a lot of our friends in Everglades are now, they do not have a job. And everybody's on unemployment, basically. All the seasonal workers. Shout out to you guys. We miss you. We love you. And we're just praying and hoping that this will get over for all of us. And hopefully the only thing bad that comes from this is some loss of money. A temporary setback. And nothing more. You know, there's people going through a lot worse. We're pretty darn lucky.
And we realize that there's a lot of folks in the same situation that we are, as far as, you know, in the work camper community. Bobby mentioned Johnny and Tracy, so they're essentially in the same boat that we are. They've got 2 or 3 weeks they can stay where they are. Their employer's going to let them stay there, but they don't. You know, they've essentially been let go, and their summer job is on hold, just like ours. We're supposed to be going to the Bryce Canyon Lodge in Utah, and the lodge should have opened last week before.
April 1st is when, April 23rd, I think, was orientation.
March
23rd, sorry.
And we were supposed to be starting April 1st and April 2nd. And, of course, that's on hold. And we saw yesterday on that website, they're right now tentatively planning on opening June 1st.
June 1st.
So we don't know how firm of a date that is or what, but we're going to see about applying for unemployment. Correct?
Right. We talked, as we were listening to Johnny and Tracy with RV SWAT, they always, anytime we listen to them, there's always something that they mention. We always learn a few things, very important things from them. We appreciate that. And basically, we're kind of in a weird situation because we're seasonal workers, and we did leave our job early, so we don't qualify for unemployment with the Everglades National Park with guest services because we left there sooner than our contract. The ones that did, or that were not able to fulfill their full season, the end of April, they will be able to get unemployment. So that being said, what's the flip side? Because we have a signed contract with the Bryce Canyon to start April 1st. So anyway, the flip side of that would be getting some form of unemployment because our contract did not come to fruition because of the pandemic. So that's what we're looking into right now. This is Molly, by the way. Molly, and Barkley is underneath the table.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, he's in his bed right now. But anyway, Molly is our little one. We got Molly in 2014. She's a rescue. Barkley's also a rescue.
So continuing on with our well, that worked real well. If y'all are still listening, hang on. Let me put the phone back up here.
Ouch.
Yeah, that hurts.
Sorry, guys. We're new at this. That's why we have the background music.
Our suction cup let go.
Anything that happens. I like that better anyway. This shirt makes me look fat. Okay.
Continuing on with our story from the other day, we had left off that we had decided to go to the Everglades, in which we did. That was, right. What was it, 1,300 miles from Dallas?
1,500 miles from Dallas is how we drove.
And stayed at a couple of Sam's overnight on the way. And made it down there, and we got there, what was it, Thanksgiving week?
Yes, we got there November 18th.
Yeah, because we were there for Thanksgiving, because we ended up having 2 holiday dinners.
We started on the 20th.
From what we've heard, it's an unusually good situation at that park with the Park Service employees and the concessionaire employees. Park Service, specifically the Rangers, the head of the Rangers was named Tony, and every Saturday night down at a location that they called the Chickie, which was basically just a big screened-in party room, they would have potlucks, or Tony would cook for all of his guys, and all the concessionaire people, the work campers, and everybody that was, working for guest services was always included. And for the holiday dinners, guest services put on a holiday dinner for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and so did the Park Service, and everybody was included and was invited to both. So everybody basically on site got 2 holiday dinners.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. But for a lot of reasons that we don't necessarily need to go into specifics, our close friends and family will, know what went on with us. But there was, it wasn't an ideal situation for us down there with management. And
sorry,
the folks that I worked with in maintenance, I worked in maintenance. I made some, what I would hope will be lifelong friends with Manny and Frank and Jared. Absolutely fantastic folks. Manny and Frank were born in Cuba, and they were just the best people you could ever hope to meet. Bobby, on the other hand,
I left what I considered a stressful job answering. I love my job at Raymond James Crossley Share Wealth Management, but it was 9 to 5, and you're sitting answering phones all day long and diffusing issues and problems. And I was client service rep. But anyway, I had a cleaning business at one time. I love to clean. I enjoy cleaning. I'm fast, efficient. I go down there to basically, I'm in custodial housekeeping, and it ended up being a very stressful situation. And it wasn't the physical aspects of the job, but just some of the people that I work with. I just think my first supervisor, she left, but I think she was kind of power hungry or whatever. They gave her the position as a supervisor, and she really didn't even ever have any cleaning experience to begin with. Our supervisor experience as being a supervisor, but she was very difficult to work with. And then there was just a lot of how would you describe it? Some people did not have to follow the rules at all.
Well, there was a lot of favoritism in that. There were some personality issues with, work ethics issues with Bobby and her coworkers. We'll just say not seeing eye to eye. And so early February and March, we started seriously looking for our next job. Um, and once we got accepted um, out at Bryce Canyon Lodge, um, we gave our notice and left about, 10 days later?
We gave her 10-day
March
notice.
7th, I think we pulled out of Flamingo.
Broke our contract. We still have yet to see our last paycheck. We're getting very, very little cooperation there as far as any help in where our paycheck might be. Is it even correct? There was just basically, we would not recommend guest services, Flamingo Everglades, to any of our friends. And in the custodial department, no, definitely not. The store is great. The marina is great. Maintenance was okay with some issues there, but basically not with the current management. Do not go there with the current management or the current HR. So that being said, we left on bad terms. Basically, we stayed. We worked our last week and worked our 10-day notice and left, and then
From there, we went to Melbourne.
Oh yeah, so we decided to take 3 weeks off on our way to Bryce Canyon because we left March 7th, and we plan on being at Bryce Canyon at on
the end of March.
Yeah, the end of March to start April 1st. So we thought we'd take a leisurely 3 weeks off to enjoy visiting friends and family. And I think once we left the Everglades, we started actually really listening to the news because we didn't watch the news when we were down there at all. So starting to watch the news, and as the pandemic went from really just what we thought was a flu, from everything that we've heard, just nothing worse than the flu, the closer we got into town to Melbourne, Brevard County, Florida, where we're from, the more it was getting worse. It was just getting worse. Stores were closing. Being able to go out to restaurants. We could still go out to restaurants. Yes, restaurants were open still.
Yeah, because we went and had went to our Chinese buffet that we like.
Right.
And a big thank you to Lewis.
Oh, yes.
For putting us up and giving us a place to park and stay. And Therese, of course. He let us park behind his business and gave us power and water, and we were set up there for basically a week.
Right.
Before we headed out, and we got a few things done there. Got some personal business taken care of, and when we decided to pull out from there, we headed for Louisiana. We had reservations at Fontainebleau State Park in between Lacombe and Mandeville, Louisiana. And we at least got to see my brother-in-law and Toby and Jennifer and Sam and Gabe while we were there. We got to have dinner with them. And as things with the pandemic were evolving and accelerating, we decided that we wanted to pull out of there earlier than planned, and we better try to get to where we needed to be. So we actually left Louisiana a couple of days early.
We did, and what was funny was, funny story, if anybody that really knows us, Roger's from Slidell, Louisiana. And I had never been there, and we met in 2012. So ever since 2012, he's been trying to get me to go into New Orleans. I've never been there. So 2012, we were scheduled to go in November for Thanksgiving and to spend a week in Slidell with family. And then he was going to take me over to New Orleans. We even had a bed and breakfast scheduled
I believe we did, yeah.
reserved. I fell the night before we were to leave. I was power walking and I tripped and fell pretty bad. Had to go to the hospital, ambulance, all that good stuff. Did a face plant.
Knocked herself out.
Yeah, knocked myself out. I was out for a while. Concussion, all that good stuff, and so that trip was canceled. I'm very very upset over that. And then it was 2016 we were supposed to go, and we got flooded out.
We had a place on Bayou Lacombe rented, and Bobby's sister and her husband were going to come down from Illinois, from the farm where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going to spend a week down there. And flood. There was no way to get there. The houses, of course, down there are built on stilts, but geez, I think before it was said and done, the docks were a couple of feet underwater, so there was no way to get there. So the night before we were supposed to leave, we called Bobby's sister, Rosemary, and told them, well, unpack your bags and get ready for company because Louisiana's canceled. It was very easy. The folks were very nice to deal with. They gave us a full refund. It wasn't our fault. It wasn't their fault. And we flipped our plans completely around and came up to Southern Illinois for a week. And still had a crawfish boil.
Mm-hmm.
We just had the crawfish shipped up here.
And then this time, this past few weeks, I guess it's been almost 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
We were actually getting ready to go to New Orleans in the morning, whatever day it was. We get to Louisiana, and then the next day, okay, we're going to go to New Orleans. And he had a few places, Roger had a few places he wanted me to go to, get a drink at Pat O'Brien's, and then the beignet place.
Yeah, Cafe du Monde.
And a couple other places. But anyway, the morning that we were getting ready to leave, we found out it was St. Patty's Day. That's right. Yep. It was St. Patty's Day. They closed everything down. Well, you could still walk around. There were some t-shirt places and stuff, but basically all the restaurants were closed. So he was pretty upset. We still drove over there, and we were careful. We walked around a little bit, and we probably were there for maybe a few hours. Got a t-shirt, and that was about it.
Everything was closed. Probably about 90% of the shops were all closed. There was one bar that was open, maybe two that were open for takeout only. We took some pictures in Jackson Square and in front of the cathedral and Cafe du Monde and in front of the closed doors at Pat O'Brien's, and walked around the French Quarter a little bit. We were careful. We weren't in any crowds or anything.
There was nobody there.
There was hardly anybody there. And so that was Bobby's first and so far only trip to New Orleans. So New Orleans has been kind of jinxed for Bobby.
Right. I wanted to go into the graveyard and, things like that. We just pretty much didn't spend any time there. But we did get some crawfish and some po' boys.
Oh, yeah. Yep. We went to Rouse's, which is a local regional grocery chain, and got 5 pounds of already washed.
Oops. Well, all right, guys. On this note, this little break here, I'm going to run and change my shirt because if anybody knows me, I have my hot